Hey, how you doing? Daniel Ruiz, Tides and the Writer's Life. It is September, just back from my first run of the new month. I don't mind September. I'm someone that still lives their year by the academic calendar, even though it's years since I left college. I was very much a September to July kind of guy. August has always been a bit of a dead month for me. Very few childhood holidays, and I like the build up to summer. I like thinking, this is going to be my summer. I'm going to own this summer, and then always tended to fall flat. I'd have two or three friends that lived nearby, and in the summer I'd try to keep myself busy visiting them, always mindful that at some point in those summer holidays they would be going off to their summer holidays with their families. I'd ask them to send me a postcard. The postcard would come. It would always be sent on the day that they'd arrived wherever they were, which, just told me they were looking just to get on with their holiday. They wanted the postcard out of the way. They weren't telling me anything about their holiday. They were saying, we've just arrived, blah, blah, blah. And it's like it was on their list. Get it out the way, get the postcard to the Spaniard, enjoy the holiday, forget about him. So I like September. It was always exciting as much as, well, I kind of dreaded it, but it was exciting too because you didn't know what your place would be in the new classroom hierarchy. Had anyone overtaken you, in the growth stakes? Had you got a bit stronger over the summer? Where did you stand now in that classroom of 28, badly behaved kids? So that was always intriguing. And I wouldn't say I missed that, but I'm just saying September always evokes memories of that. So I went for my run this morning. Good to get it out of the way as always. The park was very quiet. A couple of dogs, I think on the third and fifth laps, I just kept an eye on them, but their owners had them on a long leash, which was, good for me. Couldn't get my breathing right. I've never been able to get my breathing right on land, yet in swimming, I'm not a fast swimmer, but I'm a strong swimmer and, do the breaststroke going underwater. And it took me about three or four attempts to get my breathing right when I went back to swimming. Once I did, I never looked back, but I've never been able to control my breathing, whether it's football, running, or anything else. I'm just very erratic. I warm up well before the running. I make sure I'm taking deep breaths and, before I start and doing all the stretching. But, just doesn't happen for me. The knees have been really painful the last couple of days. I don't have a big desk. My old desktop went kaput about 3, 4 years ago. That desk is just full of clutter. So I work on a smaller desk, and for what I needed to do with the writing over the weekend, I wasn't able to do it on the small space. So I went on the floor just kind of mapping out the scenes for this rewrite. And I spent an hour on the floor, and honestly, I've had a bad back since I was a kid. That's down to bad beds, Z beds. There were the 2 years, obviously, in the marital bed with my dad. The final 6 months of that coincided with my growth spurt, but prior to that, there were about 18 months in that marital bed. My dad was a very tall man, where he'd hog most of the marital bed. I'd be curled up in a corner, and that didn't help my back, but I'm very good at stretching out the back. I do these basic yoga exercises, nothing fancy, just stretching out the back. I hang off a chin up bar as well that I've got. But for the knees, I thought, my God, something as simple as kneeling down. And the last day or so just feels like I've been booted in both kneecaps. It, really, really uncomfortable, uncomfortable enough to consider taking painkillers. I didn't in the end, but I was certainly feeling the knees this morning when I was out jogging. And I was recalling, again, trying to just not think about how many laps I had to go. Every now and then I'm glancing up just to catch sight of the dogs, and then I see how far away I might be from completing a lap. And psychologically, that does affect me, just because I do find it quite boring. There is that satisfaction now when I've done it, but it's difficult while I'm doing it. And the knees, the pain with the knees, it kind of reinforced this whole aging thing, and it made me recall an incident about 3 years ago, maybe in Stockwell. I was crossing at the lights. I had a couple of heavy shopping bags. I had my laptop in my bag. You know, I'm not someone that ever travels light. And I was crossing the road, and I think I had a scowl on my face that day. I'd had a bad day. And this car window came down, and in the front passenger seat was this girl. She couldn't have been more than 11. And she said, "You're right there, mister." And she was breaking into a laugh. She'd obviously seen something. She was definitely mocking me. And another window came down behind her, an even smaller girl, and she was giggling too. So I think they picked me out at the lights. Look at this guy. Look at the state of this guy. And it really did bother me. I was thinking, what have they seen? What have they seen in me that made them think I was right for mocking? And I just had to take it on the chin. I had to, most of us, I think, have done it. I remember being 11 years old on a school bus. I think it was just before we left primary school. We were going somewhere with a school, and, as the coach made its way through the traffic, we were just, mocking other drivers and their passengers. And one of them was clever enough to take down the coach's registration number and contacted the school, and we got in trouble. It's something you do as a kid, and when you're an adult, you just have to, it's your turn. You're on the other side of that. And but it was a big moment for me. I was thinking, am I really now? This is where I am now. That the kid that once used to mock adults is now the adult being mocked by this new generation of kids. It bothered me so much that when I got home, I put the bags down in the antechamber. Obviously nothing beyond the hallway, nothing on the floor beyond the hallway, but I kept my laptop bag on over my shoulder. I picked up the shopping bags again, made my way to the bathroom in my socked feet, and tried to recreate what facial expression, what look I might have had as I crossed that road that prompted these two young girls to mock me. And I couldn't quite see what it was. People tell me I tend to look stern. I think that sometimes that might be a bit harsh, but I remember that I was having a bad day. I don't know whether there was a thing going on with the hair. Maybe, I was wearing an unfashionable coat. I don't know. I can drag out a wardrobe for years, so maybe it was that. But it bothered me that something at those lights, as the car stopped, those girls picked me out and decided to mock me. And one day it'll be their turn. One day it'll be other kids mocking that girl in the front passenger seat and the little girl behind her. That's the way the world works. We just have to accept it. If you've enjoyed this video, do please click the subscribe button and share it with your friends, with your associates. Let's try and get these numbers up, and I hope that you enjoy the first Monday of September. Take care.